felt as if the heavens themselves were sharing my sorrow. I stood beneath my black umbrella, trembling slightly, watching as my mother's coffin slowly sank into the wet earth. Everyone around me wept, everyone except my father. He wasn't there. He was in Hawaii, laughing beside his new lover, toasting with champagne as if celebrating her death. When the last handful of dirt covered the coffin, I whispered goodbye through gritted teeth. That evening, lightning ripped across the Portland skyline as I sat alone in my apartment, staring at old photographs of her. Then my phone vibrated. One message from her number. My mother. I'm not dead. Come to the cemetery. Now. Panic squeezed my chest. My hands went icy. Grabbing my car keys, I felt my heart hammering like a drum. Was this a miracle or madness? My name is Grace Miller. Until last week, I thought my life was ordinary. A small apartment overlooking the Willamette River, a freelance design job, and a mother who called every Sunday, reminding me to eat. I had rolled my eyes at her texts. Take your vitamins, honey. Don't skip dinner. Never did I imagine I would miss them. The day she died started like any other. I was finishing a client's project when an unfamiliar number flashed on my phone. Normally, I would have ignored it, but something, an instinct I couldn't name, made me answer. Is this Miss Grace Miller? A trembling female voice asked. I'm calling from Portland General Hospital. I'm so sorry. Your mother passed away this morning. Sudden cardiac arrest. The world tilted. Colors drained from everything. No, I whispered. You're mistaken. My mother's fine. She was painting just this morning. I'm sorry, the nurse repeated softly. Her words echoed in my mind long after she hung up. I remember staring out the rain-streaked window, my reflection ghostly and pale. My mother, my best friend, my anchor, gone. And yet something inside me refused to accept it. She had no heart problems. She laughed easily, exercised, ate well. How could she just vanish? When I called my father, his voice was cold, almost indifferent. It's true. Evelyn's gone. The doctor said it was quick. That's it. I snapped. My voice cracked. That's all you have to say? Grace, she's dead. Cry if you need to. Don't be dramatic. I'll handle the paperwork. Then he hung up. That call lit a fire in me. My grief twisted into suspicion. My father wasn't mourning. He was relieved, and that terrified me. 3 days later, the rain continued unabated, as if Portland itself refused to move on. The cemetery smelled of damp earth and lilies. People in black stood under umbrellas, murmuring condolences that barely reached me. I couldn't look away from the coffin. Evelyn Grace Miller, engraved in gold. My throat burned. You didn't deserve this. I whispered. Where's Richard? Relatives whispered behind me. Her husband didn't come. Typical. My father had texted the night before. Busy overseas, handled the funeral. No apology. No shame. Just business. When the priest began to pray, my legs shook. My cousin's little girl, Ava, tugged at my sleeve. Aunt Grace, she whispered. If Grandma's in heaven, can she see us? I knelt, my voice trembling. Yes, baby. She's watching us right now. As the coffin sank, a cold gust snapped my umbrella inside out. The priest's words blurred in the rhythm of the falling rain. Each drop felt like a heartbeat I could no longer reach. When the ceremony ended, everyone left, everyone except me. I stayed, kneeling in the mud. Mom, I whispered, if there's justice, he'll pay for what he's done. I promise. Lightning carved the sky far away. I took it as an answer. That night, I drove home soaked and hollow. I showered, slipped into one of her sweaters, and scrolled through my father's social media. There was a post of him on a sunny beach, arm around a young woman with perfect hair. The caption, New Beginnings. My hands shook violently. While I buried my mother in the rain, he was smiling under the sun. Something inside me cracked, and something darker stirred. Sleep refused me. Every creak in the apartment felt like a whisper from another world. I kept seeing her face in the coffin, unnervingly peaceful. I tried to distract myself with photos. Mom painting. laughing in the garden, hugging me after heartbreak. Each memory stabbed me. Then my phone buzzed. One name, Mom. My blood ran cold. Her number, the one I never deleted. My heart hammered as I opened it. I'm not dead. Come to the cemetery now. I stared, disbelief and fear mingling. Wrong number? Cruel joke? But my body had already decided. I grabbed my coat and keys. Outside, the rain felt sharper, colder, purposeful. Wipers fought the downpour as I raced toward the cemetery. My instinct screamed to turn back, but I couldn't. Her voice echoed in my mind. Trust your heart, Grace, even when your mind is afraid. When I reached the gates, fog clung to gravestones like a shroud, hiding secrets in its gray folds. The lamps shivered in the wind, their dim glow stretching across the wet graves like fading ghosts. I pulled over, stepped into the cold night, and the rain instantly bit through my coat. Mom, I whispered, my voice trembling into the emptiness. No answer, only the hiss of rain on metal and marble. Then, near the old willow trees, something moved. A shadow, small, hunched, barely human. My breath hitched. I lifted my flashlight, its beam cutting through the storm, and froze. Her face, pale, fragile, alive. Those hazel eyes, the same eyes I'd seen lifeless in a coffin, now stared back at me, filled with tears. Grace, she whispered. The world fell apart. The flashlight slipped from my shaking hand, landing in the mud with a dull splash. I stumbled forward, disbelief choking me. Mom, how? You were... She took my hands, her touch icy but real. It's me, sweetheart, she said, her voice breaking. But you can't tell anyone I'm alive. Rain poured harder, washing away logic, fear, everything. I couldn't stop staring at her. Her skin looked almost translucent, her hair drenched and tangled, but her eyes, God, they were alive. My voice cracked. Mom, everyone saw you. I saw you. She pulled me into her arms, trembling. For a heartbeat, the world went quiet. No storm, no graves, just her faint heartbeat against mine. Then she whispered, Grace, we have to leave. Now. We ran through the downpour to a silver sedan hidden beneath the trees. Inside, the air smelled of rain and fear. I could barely speak. Please, Mom, tell me what's happening. She didn't answer at first. Her fingers gripped the steering wheel so hard they turned white. Finally, she said it. Your father tried to kill me. The words cracked like thunder. What? I whispered. Tears welled in her eyes. He's not the man you think he is, Grace. For months, he's been threatening me, forcing me to sign over everything I own. My shares, my studio, the company. When I refused, he said he'd make me disappear. I shook my head. No, that's insane. He's your husband. My father. Her voice hardened. He's a businessman. To him, people are numbers. And when a number stops adding value, he erases it. She told me about that night. How she collapsed in her studio from exhaustion. How the housekeeper called an ambulance. How Dad arrived at the hospital. Not with concern, but with documents for her to sign. When she refused, he left. But someone else was watching. Martha, one of Mom's old students, now a nurse. She'd seen the bruises before, suspected something. That night, she helped Mom disappear. She switched the hospital records. Mom whispered, made it look like my heart stopped. They put a mannequin in the body bag. Everyone believed I was dead. Martha drove me out through the back. I pressed a trembling hand to my mouth. You faked your death. Tears rolled down her cheeks. It was the only way to survive. Outside, thunder growled, shaking the car. I thought you'd be safe if I was gone, she said softly. But when I saw his post, new beginnings, I knew he wouldn't stop. He'll come for you next. I met her gaze, fire building in my chest. Then we stopped him first. Her eyes widened. Grace, no. You don't understand what he's capable of. I do, I said quietly. And that's exactly why he has to be exposed. For a long time, she just looked at me, not as her daughter, but as someone ready to fight. Then she nodded. All right, but we can't make mistakes. As the rain eased, the cemetery fell silent, except for the soft drip of water from the trees. That was when it hit me. My mother hadn't died that night. She'd been reborn, and now I was about to be too. By dawn, the city felt colder, sharper, as if it somehow knew the truth I carried. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my father's face, calm, empty, efficient, like death was just another transaction. Mom was hidden in a safe house on the edge of Portland, Martha keeping watch. I swore not to tell anyone, not my friends, not the police, not yet, but waiting was never my strength. At 8 a.m., my phone rang. My father's voice was smooth, almost cheerful. Grace, darling, I'm finalizing your mother's estate today. I'll need your signature on a few papers. My grip tightened around the phone until my nails dug into my skin. Papers? Just some routine documents, he said lightly. Nothing for you to worry about. Come by the mansion tonight. I forced my voice to stay calm. Sure, Dad. But in my chest, a storm was already forming. Tonight, I wasn't going to his house as his daughter. I was going as my mother's vengeance. Then I sent Mom a message. He's making his move. Her reply came almost instantly. Let him think he's winning. That night, the house I'd once called home didn't feel like it anymore. Everything sparkled. Marble floors polished perfection. Chandeliers glowing like stars. Yet the air was suffocating, thick with something rotten. He greeted me with that fake warmth politicians were like perfume. You look tired, Grace. Losing sleep over old things. Over dead things, I replied coolly. Or people who were supposed to be dead. He froze for half a second, then smiled again, thinner this time. Careful with your words, he murmured as we stepped into his office. He slid a folder toward me across the mahogany desk. These are transfer documents for your mother's estates. Since you're the only heir, we just need your signature to finalize the consolidation. I flipped through the pages, my heart thundering, and stopped. Her signature. My mother's. Perfect. Too perfect. I lifted my eyes. You forged your name. He gave a cold laugh. You think I need to forge anything? She agreed before she died. Strange. I said, standing. Because I remember her saying she'd rather burn it all than let you have it. The smile dropped. Sit down, Grace. I'm not signing. He leaned forward, voice lowering into that dangerous calm I'd heard too many times as a child. I know you're upset. Don't make me force you to do what's necessary. And there it was, the tone that once made my mother flinch. But this time, my hands didn't shake from fear. They shook from rage. You already killed her once, I said quietly. You won't do it again. His eyes narrowed. What did you just say? I said you won't get away with it. Panic flickered behind his stare. He stood abruptly, breathing sharp. You've been talking to someone. I said nothing. He snatched the folder and barked, Get out. As I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of a small safe reflected in the mirror behind him, half hidden behind a photo frame. A smile tugged at my lips. Sure, Dad. I'll go. That night, I didn't sleep. At midnight, I slipped back into the house using the old spare key. The safe opened on the third attempt. The code was my mother's birthday. Typical. Inside, forged contracts, offshore transfers, fake documents, a flash drive. I copied everything and left. Back in the car, my hands trembled. Got it, I texted Mom. Her reply appeared instantly. Good. Be careful. He'll find out. Before I could even exhale, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You think I wouldn't notice, Grace? My blood ran cold. It was him. The phone rang. His voice, low, calm, lethal. You were always clever, he said. But you forgot who taught you how to lie. You don't scare me, I whispered. He chuckled. Don't I? Come home, Grace. Let's talk. Or I'll make sure you regret stealing from me. Stealing? I spat. You mean evidence? Silence. Then softly. Destroy it, or maybe we'll need another funeral. He hung up. I sat there frozen, staring at my reflection in the windshield, pale, hollow, but alive. Not for long, if I didn't move. I drove to the safe house. Mom opened the door, wrapped in a robe, eyes wide. He knows, I said, tossing the flash drive on the table. Everything, the accounts, signatures, everything. It's enough to bury him. She looked terrified. If we go to the police, he'll reach us first. Then we make him destroy himself, I said. For the next 2 days, we worked nonstop. Martha helped us send every file anonymously to the FBI and federal authorities. Mom's old lawyer friend, Charlotte Wells, began preparing our statement, but he came sooner than we expected. 2 nights later, headlights flared outside the window. Mom peeked through the curtain. Her face went white. "It's him," she whispered. "Richard." A thunderous knock shook the walls. "Grace." His voice roared through the door. "Open up. Let's end this nonsense." Mom clutched my hand. "Don't. He's dangerous." But I'd had enough. I opened the door. He stood there in the rain, soaked, furious, eyes bloodshot. The man who'd buried his wife alive in lies. "Where is she?" he hissed. I stepped forward. "Who? The wife you buried? The woman you tried to erase?" His face twisted. "You don't understand. She ruined me." "No," I said. "She loved you. You ruined yourself." He shoved past me, calling her name, Evelyn. And then she stepped out from the hall. Calm, alive, unbroken. "I'm right here," she said. He froze, color draining from his face. This isn't possible. "You're dead." "You try to make me dead," she replied softly. He laughed bitterly, trembling. "You think you can take everything from me? My name? My company?" I stood between them. "That's where you're wrong." Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. "What did you do?" he demanded. Mom's gaze was steady. "Exactly what you taught us. Cover your tracks. But you left too many." Moments later, the front door burst open. "Richard Miller," an officer shouted. "You're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, and attempted murder." He turned to me, desperate. "Grace, tell them they're wrong." "Tell them?" I shook my head slowly. "You buried the wrong woman, Dad." He lunged, but the agents pinned him to the floor. Rain poured through the open door as they dragged him out. "You will regret this," he yelled. Mom whispered back, "No, Richard." I already did. When the door shut, silence filled the house, broken only by the dripping rain. Mom collapsed into my arms, sobbing, "It's over." I held her close, feeling her heartbeat, the heartbeat that shouldn't have been there, but was. "It's just beginning," I said softly. Outside, dawn broke. The rain finally stopped, and for the first time since that funeral, the world didn't feel like it was morning anymore. Real estate mogul Richard Miller was arrested on charges of fraud and attempted murder. His face flooded every news screen. That same practiced, charming smile from charity galas now sat beneath bold headlines. "Criminal investigation." Mom and I watched it unfold from a small, quiet hotel room miles away. She hardly spoke, her hands wrapped around a cup of untouched tea. "Grace," she whispered one morning, "when I married your father, I thought he was a man who built things. I never realized he was a man who destroyed them." I reached for her hand. "He won't destroy us anymore." 3 months later, the trial began. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, lawyers, shareholders who once worshipped him now whispering behind their papers like vultures. My father sat at the defendant's table, gray suit wrinkled, hair unkempt, arrogance drained from his eyes. He never looked at us. When Mom took the stand, silence fell like a curtain. She spoke evenly, her voice sharp and unflinching. "I faked my death," she said. "Not for revenge. For survival." Gasps swept through the room. Reporters scribbled. Cameras clicked. She detailed the threats, the forged papers, the night he told her she'd be worth more dead than alive. She didn't cry. She didn't tremble. She just told the truth. When it was my turn, I faced him, the man who once taught me courage. He taught me how to be brave. I told the jury. But I don't think he ever thought I'd use that bravery against him. That's when he finally looked at me. And for the first time, I saw fear, not of prison, but of the truth he could no longer control. Our lawyer, Charlotte Wells, presented everything. The secret transfers, falsified contracts, recordings of his arguments with my late grandparents. His empire collapsed piece by piece, crushed under his own deceit. When the verdict came, the room held its breath. Guilty on all counts. He closed his eyes. No excuses, no fury, just silence. The judge's voice echoed through the chamber. Richard Miller, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. The gavel struck. It sounded like thunder after years of storm. Mom exhaled, her first real breath in years. I took her hand, and she squeezed mine, tears showing her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. As they led him away, he glanced over his shoulder. For a second, his eyes softened, the faintest shadow of the father I once loved. Then he was gone. Outside the courthouse, flashes went off, microphones thrust forward. Mrs. Miller, Miss Miller, how does it feel to bring down one of Portland's most powerful men? Mom paused, exhaustion and relief etched into her smile. It doesn't feel like victory, she said softly. It feels like freedom. The next morning, headlines called her the woman who returned from the dead. But to me, she wasn't a ghost reborn. She was proof that truth always rises, no matter how deep it's buried. Months passed after the verdict. Still, each morning I half expected to hear the echo of the gavel. The nightmare was over, but its shadow lingered. We moved to the Oregon coast, far from Portland's glass towers and whispered scandals. Mom bought a weathered seaside cottage, white paint peeling, garden bursting with color again. Her days became peaceful, teaching kids to paint, filling canvases with wild daisies like the ones she once grew in our backyard. One afternoon, I found her standing by the water, brush in hand, staring at the horizon. What are you painting? I asked. Freedom, she said, smiling faintly. I opened a small design studio nearby, Evelyn and Grace Designs. It wasn't just a business. It was a promise to build something honest, beautiful, and alive. Life grew quiet, gentle, safe. Sometimes the past tried to call back. Letters from reporters, offers from investors to tell her story in documentaries. She always refused. I don't need to relive it, she'd say. I just need to live. One evening, as the sun bled into the sea, I sat beside her on the porch, tea warming my hands. Mom, I said softly, I never asked, who sent that text that night? The one that led me to you? She looked up, sunset reflecting in her eyes. I didn't, she said. I frowned. What do you mean? It came from your number. My phone was off, she whispered. Martha had it that night. We sat in silence, the waves hissing softly against the rocks. A chill ran through me, not from fear, but from wonder. Maybe fate itself had sent that message, unwilling to let lies win. Mom took my hand and smiled. Whatever it was, she said, it saved us. I nodded to the tightness in my throat. No, Mom, you saved us. In that golden dusk, she looked like everything she was meant to be, not broken, not haunted, but reborn. When I drove home later, the sky burned orange, the same hue as her daisies. I rolled down the window and let the sea air fill the car. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted. The truth had set us free. We had lost everything once, wealth, reputation, even each other, but we had found something rarer, peace. As the road curved away from the coast, I whispered into the wind, "Good night, Mom." And for the first time since that funeral, I could swear I heard her voice again, soft, steady, alive. Good night, sweetheart. The storm had passed, and at last we were free.